I have a problem. So, I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to this, but I have a physical TBR problem. I buy too many books that I plan to read, but I don't get to them in time. And by the time I get to them, it doesn't make sense with the amount of books that I have. I'm sure if you're a big reader, then you also have this problem too, but it's bad. I mean, it's not as bad as some other people, I'm sure, because I do try to be as selective with my book buying as possible, but I still have a lot of books. And I really do want to get through all of them before I buy even more. I'm not on a book buying ban, and I don't plan to be, especially since every time I travel, I try to buy a book that's written by the author in that country, you know what I mean? So I'm not planning on being on a book buying ban. I don't go book shopping all that often anyways. But you never know. If I stumble into a Barnes & Noble, am I not gonna buy anything? I don't know. You know, listen, I'm not safe in bookstores, okay? I mean, just because I don't go as often as I would like to, when I do go, it's a problem. I come out with too many books. So that is why I want to get through all my TBRs. So I do want to do a series where I just kind of read through all of my TBRs. So to kick it off, I'm just gonna let you guys know all the TBRs that are currently sitting on my shelves. This might be, I don't think it'll be that long, but we're just gonna go through it and we'll go through this together. Starting off strong is Emma. I always get shit for this because I made a reaction video to Pride and Prejudice, like the 20 whatever version, and I mentioned that I read Pride and Prejudice before I started that reaction video, and a lot of people are like, huh, read Pride and Prejudice and didn't know X, Y, and Z. Okay, listen, my pea brain did not take it in. It did not remember a lot of the things in that book because I just didn't enjoy it. I don't know about you guys, but when I don't enjoy a book, like while I'm reading it, I just block out a lot of things just to get through it. And that was before I made a rule that if I don't like a book by 100 pages, then I'm gonna DNF it. That's not when I made that rule for myself. So I like forced myself to read this book. So I think I blocked out a lot of things and I don't remember a lot of things. And also by the time I made that reaction video, it was like almost like a year later. Anyway, so I got Emma because I heard that if I don't like Pride and Prejudice, then I'll definitely like Emma. And I really like the movie, so I think I'll like the book. Then I have Blood Like Magic. So I actually picked up Blood Like Magic when it first came out, which I believe was like 2 years ago. I'm not too sure, but I was watching a lot of the author's books on YouTube. Liselle Sambury, because she does have a YouTube channel and she does post kind of like her writing process on YouTube, which was during the time I was like hardcore writing my zero draft for my novel. So I was very intrigued by the plot, but I just never got around to it. So we'll see. We also have The Cartographer. Honestly, I have no clue what this is about anymore. I feel like I probably picked it up while I was at a Barnes & Noble and the premise was enough for me to buy it. And I also like the cover, so that probably didn't help my case. I gave into the hype and got My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I think I also got it like 2 years ago or like last year or something like that. After this had a surge on Book Talk and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna finally give in. The one thing that bugs me though is this cover. It doesn't cover all the way and I hate it so much. I don't know why they would do this. But anyway, excited to read that. This book, I have to say, has been in and out of my backpack so many times because I thought I was going to read it on a traveling trip or I was going to read it on the go and whatever, but I just never got around to it. I don't know why, but we're going to read it eventually. I heard it's very similar to The Bell Jar, which I recently read, so I'm going to try to read this soon. So we also have The Night and Its Moon. I think this is by a controversial author. I also got M by Kim Thuy. I started reading this book and I technically DNF'd this, but not permanently. It was like a temporary DNF because I started reading it and I was like, I need to be in the right mindset to read this book. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be in that mindset. I think I did write a Goodreads review about it. So I also got Concerning My Daughter. I got this actually on my recent trip to Toronto, which it was recommended by one of the shop owners, so I was super excited to read this. It's basically about mother-daughter relationship, semi-strained, something like that, and I am always a sucker for those type of stories. Excited to read this. It's very short, so I think I could get through it pretty quickly. I also got A Little Life. I also gave into the hype. I was very intrigued, but this is a very thick book. So as much as this has also been in and I got it in 2022. I got this literally the beginning of last year. So that goes to show how long I've had this book. This has been in and out of my backpack too, but I just never started it because I think, honestly, I'm pretty intimidated by this book. I'm scared. I've heard a lot of things about how it's the most saddest book that you'll ever read in your life. You know what? I think I'll make a video about this book. Who knows? We'll see. I also have The Maidens. I was originally pretty excited to read this book. I bought this like 2 years ago, I'm pretty sure. But after I've seen some people's reviews, like non-spoiler reviews, I don't know if I'm as excited anymore because I heard it's not that good. So I think I have been subconsciously avoiding this book because I am not as excited about it anymore, but we'll get to it eventually. I'll see for myself. I also have Lore Olympus Volume 4. I think I haven't read it because I don't have Volume 3 yet, but I have to double check. I like to use these like graphic novels and comics as a palate cleanser when I read a lot of books in a row, or if it's like a very chunky book. So this will definitely be read for sure. Don't worry about that. I do like the Lore Olympus series a lot, so I'm pretty excited to read it. I have Disorientation by Aline. I don't know how to say her name, but it's Disorientation. I picked this up, I think, last year. Honestly, I think I picked this book up when I was on a lunch break at work at my old job, and it was near Barnes & Noble. So honestly, I used any excuse to be outside of the premises of that job, and the, whatchamacallit, the cover was pretty enough, so I think I bought it then. I don't know. I'm excited. I don't really see people covering this book, so we'll see how it goes. House of Hollow. I picked this up 2-3 years ago. I'm not too sure. I heard nothing but great things, so I'm really looking forward to it, but I'm pretty sure it's a scary book. Psycho thriller, so I think that's why I haven't picked it up yet, just because I'm not really a horror type of girly, so we'll see how this goes. We also have Emily Bronte. That is the author. I'm so sorry. We have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I don't know. I think I heard through the grapevine that this would be up my alley in the type of classics that I might like, but I just never got around to it. I don't know about you guys, but I am a little bit reluctant to pick up classics just because they are not as, in my opinion, like not as fun to read. I don't know, it's just like not my type of book. Maybe it gives me PTSD flashbacks to like AP English. Who knows? But I recently read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Are they sisters? Am I just realizing this now? Someone let me know if they're sisters, because that's crazy if they aren't. The coincidence of them having the same last name, if they aren't related, that's nuts. Anyway, this is on my list, especially since I'm trying to force myself into reading more classics. I feel like I need to stop having this reluctance towards classics. This looks nuts, but I have Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief in Korean, which I've read the first Percy Jackson, but it's in Korean, so I haven't read it in Korean. I'm gonna count this as I haven't read it yet, just because I bought this book with the intention of trying to get better at my Korean. So if you guys don't know, I'm Korean, and conversationally I would say I'm pretty fluent. Like I can speak Korean, I understand Korean, and I can kind of read Korean, but like reading and writing is a struggle. Like I'm definitely like an elementary school level of reading and writing, just because I don't know, it's different than speaking. I'm sure if anybody else speaks a different language, you know the struggle between reading and writing versus actual speaking. So that's where I'm at. I'm gonna eventually get to this. I think I might try to do it this year, but we'll see. I'm just very intimidated because like normally when I like look at books and like you just do this, you can see different words pop out at you. None of these words pop out at me. None of it. It's such a struggle to read a goddamn, it's such a struggle to read Korean for me. Like it really takes a lot of my brain cells to read Korean. So I will get to this for sure, but I just don't know when. We'll see. We'll see. I bought this 2 or 3 years ago, but Dune, I was supposed to read it before the first Dune came out, but you can't tell me that this book is not intimidating. The text is so small, it's so large, and I'm just not a sci-fi person. Like, I don't know. I think this is why Star Wars has never really clicked with me, but it just, my brain doesn't compute any of it, and it's just, I don't know. I'm just not intrigued by it, but I do want to read this because I heard the book is really good, so I'm gonna keep it on my bookshelves for now. Surprisingly enough, I've never read Hamlet for school, so I want to read a bunch more plays, including Shakespeare. I feel like I never really appreciated it as a high schooler. schooler, and I want to change that, especially since I am an actor, so I really should get to know Shakespeare and learn to love it because... Oh, I have my receipt in here. I bought this 2 years ago in 2021. This has definitely been on my shelves for a while. I will get to it because I also have Romeo and Juliet. I've read Romeo and Juliet, so that's why it's not in this list, but I want to reread that and then also read this. So I also have Just Kids. This was originally for the Andrew Garfield video that I have up. So I bought this like 1 or 2 years ago. I just didn't read it for that video just because I already had like 5 books in that video, so I felt like it was a bit overkill, and I ordered a bunch of books just to see which ones would arrive first for me to dig into that. So that's why this just didn't arrive in time, but it's okay. I've heard it's great and I will still read this book for sure. All right, we also have How It Feels to Float. I've tried to read this for a I'll stop when I get 5 stars video that I have up, and I started it and it's giving me normal people vibes, which, no offense to Sally Rooney, but it's just not my cup of tea, so I had to DNF it temporarily. But my friend said it's a really good book, so I really do want to read it. But I think it's one of those books I have to take my time with and not feel like I have to rush, which that video really made me feel like I had to rush everything. So here we are. I have Pachinko, which I originally got this book to read before the series came out, but I never got around to it. I feel like this video is going to take forever, so we're just going to try to power through these. We also have Black Swans. I heard this is great. I've been influenced. I don't know. I think what really got me was on Goodreads. You can follow, I forget her name, but she's a character in Gossip Girl, the remake, the reboot, and so this was on her Goodreads, and I wanted to read it. So, I don't know. I just trust her with book taste for some reason, so yeah, it's on my list, and I've heard nothing but great things about it, so we'll see. I also have Oh Beautiful. Honestly, I'm pretty sure I bought this on a lunch break as well from my old job, and I just saw that it was a Korean author and I was like, okay, well, Korean author, this is pretty. I'm pretty sure it's about like a family immigrating to America, like Minari vibes, so yeah. We also have Skinship by Yoon Cho. The summary seemed interesting. I don't remember. I feel like I bought this a long time ago too. We'll see. 2022, I bought this like last year. I bought this over a year ago actually because it was October 2022. But Korean author, I don't know. I always have a thing where if I see a Korean author and the premise is semi-interesting, I will most likely buy the book because I like supporting Korean authors. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to read this eventually whenever I get to it. Honestly, I forgot I had this book for a while, so. We also have You by Caroline Kepnes, which is what the show is based off of. I think I got this book for research, but I don't know. I didn't get around to reading it in time for whatever I was researching, so I guess that's there. I have All About Love. Last year, literally everybody and their moms was talking about bell hooks, so I got it. I was influenced. I'm not ashamed to say that. But anyway, I got it. I'm intrigued by bell hooks, and I'm excited to get into this whenever I do. I don't know when. It's so tough to say because I used to not be a mood reader, but lately I've been such a big mood reader. So it's been hard for me to want to pick up books that I'm not in the mood for. So there's that fun little thing. I also got The Viscount Who Loved Me, which I don't have any other Bridgerton books in my shelves at all. I just picked this up because I love season 2 of Bridgerton and I love Anthony so much. They're my favorite couple of all time. So I heard the book kind of dives a little bit deeper into that. So I got it. I don't know. I've heard the Bridgerton series, like the actual books, are a mixed bag, and it's honestly like very hit or miss, and I'm scared that it's gonna be a miss. I think that's why I've been reluctant. I got the Essential Roomie. I was totally influenced because I don't know if you guys know the YouTuber Chloe. I think it's like Read with Chloe Books. I don't know. I will flash it over here or something like that. But she was reading this like a year or 2 ago, and I was totally influenced. I wanted to get into poetry, so I got this because it seemed like the easiest and most digestible way to get into poetry that wasn't just like influencers and celebrities writing their poetry books. No offense, I'm sure it's great, but you know, I wanted to start off in like a good note with poetry, and that seemed like the place to be. I also got Hamnet. I was also influenced. I also don't get why they do this with the covers. Like, why don't they cover it completely? I hate it so much. But I was also totally influenced by this by Jack Edwards on YouTube. This is so ironic because I literally went to school for marketing and I am getting influenced left and right. But you know what? I know I'm getting influenced because I'm self-aware like that, and I don't care. whatever. Because you know what? I have to read books anyway. And why not read the books that have influenced me? Whatever. That makes no sense. That literally makes no sense. But that is me struggling to justify why I've bought so many books. Anyway, Hamnet. It is what it is. I also have Firekeeper's Daughter. Honestly, I don't know why I bought this book. I've heard it's great after the fact, but I don't know why I bought this book. I think it must have been on sale or something like that, but I got it. I don't know what it's about, but we'll figure it out together. We have Book of Night. I attempted to read this and DNF'd it during the 5-star reading vlog that I had going on. I literally tabbed it, and yeah, I DNF'd it. It wasn't the vibe, so I will resume this whenever I am in the mood to read this. I don't know when, but I will eventually. Or maybe, oh, Jesus Christ, this tower is about to fall. I might just end up DNFing it though. Who knows? We shouldn't be, I feel like a lot of people put shame into DNFing, and we shouldn't be ashamed to DNF books. You know, sometimes books are just not meant for us, and that's okay. You know, that is completely okay, and we shouldn't feel shame in that. We shouldn't feel self-shame either. I understand I'm a completionist myself, but we gotta stop shaming ourselves for this. We can't force ourselves to keep reading books that we don't like, okay? And is that me speaking to myself? Maybe. Maybe. I got Beast of a Little Land. Again, no concept, no idea what this book is about, but it's a Korean author. I like the cover. I don't know. I swear to you guys, when I go to bookstores, I do read the summaries before I buy the books. And so if I have bought any of these books, I was intrigued by it, but it's been so long since I bought these books that I don't remember why I bought them. So that is why literally no idea. Never Let Me Go. I'm pretty sure I was gonna do a Harry Styles reading video vlog, and I never got around to it. So I have this, and I've heard nothing but great things about it, but I just haven't read it yet. So there's that. Little Women. I bought this after many times of rewatching Little Women by Greta Gerwig. I'm not ashamed to say that. I just never got around to reading it. I will read this, but I just haven't gotten around to it. Neil Gaiman, American Gods. I've heard nothing but great things about Neil Gaiman, but I haven't read it. Voodoo Queen, The Spirited Lives of Mary Laveau. I got this on my New Orleans trip like a year ago, and I have every intentions of reading this because this woman is a very fascinating woman, and she's done a lot for the community of New Orleans, but I haven't gotten around to it, so I'll read it. Trust me, I'll read it eventually. We have Hellbent. It's a sequel to, I will put the first book here because I don't remember because it's been so long since I read it. But I bought this, I think, in the past year just because it was on sale at Target and it had a poster. I'm pretty sure it has it has a poster. So I got it. Oh, Ninth House. That's what it was, Ninth House. It's probably right here. But Ninth House, this is the sequel. I like Ninth House. I don't remember a lot of the things that have happened in Ninth House, so we'll see how this sequel goes. All My Rage. I started it. Yeah, I have one tab in there. I started it. I wasn't feeling it, so I stopped reading it. I'll get around to it eventually, but it's a YA book, and lately I just have not been feeling YA books, so I got Iron Widow recently at Target because they were having a sale, so I got it. It's been on, I think I have an arc of this, honestly, now that I think about it, but I wanted a nice hardback cover so I could annotate it, but yeah, I haven't gotten around to it. I heard it's good though, so. Gear Breakers. I actually got this on pre-order when it came out, and I am also a victim of influencing for this book as well. The author made a lot of videos marketing this book, and I was very intrigued after all the marketing videos, so she got me. But I'm excited to read this book. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I don't know, it's sci-fi. I have to be in the mood to want to read sci-fi, you know, so I think that's why I haven't gotten around to it. The Color of Dragons. Honestly, so I was in this acting class, and me and this one other girl were trading books for a while, and this was one of the books that she traded me, and I haven't given it back to her because I haven't read it yet, and I don't go to that acting class anymore, at least for the time being. So whenever I return to that acting class, I will return this book too. I'll try to get to it before I do that, but if I don't, it is what it is. I honestly forgot I had this book. A Torch Against the Night. I read the first book, Embers in the Ashes. I think I enjoyed it, and I don't remember what happened. It's been such a long time ago. I think I bought this like 2 years ago. I don't remember. I probably will have to like Spark Notes the first one or something because I don't remember. A Magic Stepped into Poison, or A Magic Steeped in Poison. I don't remember. When did I get this? Last year. Again, I think I got this during a lunch break at my old job, and the cover is pretty, so here we are. I think during the time that I bought a lot of these books, I was in a like fantasy phase, and I don't know why. Because my fantasy phases don't always last that long, so I don't know. We'll see when I get back into it. I got Brandon Sanderson, Skyward. I heard this is like one of the easier books to get into for Brandon Sanderson, and he's always been on my list to get into, but it's been 2 years since I bought this book, so clearly I'm not that interested in getting into it, at least not yet. I don't know, I think I'm just intimidated by the fact that he has so many books out, and just getting into one of his books might open a gateway to a lot more of his books, you know? Like, it's just gonna open the floodgates for that if I do enjoy this book, so I think that's why. I got Howl's Moving Castle in my trip to Seattle because I got it at this Japanese mart. I've watched the movie, I really enjoyed the movie, and I've heard there's a lot more to it in the book, so I will read this eventually. I don't want to say like I'll read it soon, because if I say that for every single book, then I don't know when I'm going to read all of it, you know? But I will read it, okay? We also have Night Sky with Exit Wounds, which I also got at that same bookstore from the Howl's Moving Castle in Seattle, and I really love Ocean Vuong's writing, and it's a book of poetry, so I can only imagine how beautiful that is, so I will probably read this in between books. We have Less again. Carly Thorne made a video and she said Less was a pretty good classic to get into, so I got it because I was trying to get into classics. This was not the book I got into classics with, but we'll see. I have no concept of what this is about, but the cover is pretty and it was recommended, so it's here. Alright, we also have the Atlas Paradox. I think I bought this on a whim, to be quite honest with you guys. It is a sequel to the Atlas 6. I enjoyed the Atlas 6. I mean, the more I look back on it, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I thought I did when I first read it, but I read the first one, so I want to finish it. I didn't have to get this version, but here we are, because I have like the original paperback where it's like the matted cover. So I kind of wish I had something similar to that, but I don't think they're gonna release anything, because I think that was when it was it wasn't rebranded to the bigger publication that released it. I don't know how this works. I don't know. But yeah, this is the sequel. I'll get to it eventually. This is gonna be a lot. I also got A Winter's Promise. I heard this is a really good fantasy to get into, so I got it. I also got Stars and Smoke. I recently got this in the Target sale, and it's about a K-pop singer. I'm pretty sure one of them is a K-pop singer, and it's written by Marie Lu. So I think it'll be great. I think this is technically YA though, so I don't know if I'm gonna be that invested in this, just because, again, I'm not really into YA lately, but it's about a music group, so I'm a sucker for anything about music and the music industry. I have Love Theoretically. I'm gonna read this soon, actually. After like a series of books that I'm reading on my Kindle, I will be reading this physically, or I might start reading it in conjunction with it, just because, I don't know. Ali Hazelwood, I've read like a good chunk of her books, and it's very hit or miss. I haven't read Love on the Brain, but I did read Love Hypothesis. I'll put it over here. But I did read her first debut novel, and I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't know, like I heard this one is like one of her better books, so I have nothing but great things to hope for. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, okay? I'm gonna read it soon. Oh, I also got this on my Toronto trip. It's called Slows Twice. I think this is a book of poetry. Yes, this is a book of poetry. I'm excited to read this. I'm like kind of reading this right now. I had to stop because I'm reading Fourth Wing right now, which is on my Kindle, and I'm like doing a series for a couple different books for a video that I'm doing, so that's why I had to put this on pause. But also, it's really not giving as much as I thought it would. But Carrie Soto is back. I've heard nothing but great things. People said it's one of her better books, and it's kind of slow right now, so I'm kind of glad that it is on pause at the moment. Also, Lessons in Chemistry. I've heard nothing. Ow! Oh my god, these just fell on my foot. Oh my god. This hurts so bad. I'm not showing you my feet for free, but oh my god. Lessons on Chemistry. I've heard nothing but great things. It's a romance book, but I did read like a couple pages in and I wasn't really feeling it, so I'm not gonna read this right now. It's like a historical romance book. And by historical, I mean, I think it's like the 1960s. Yeah, it's the 1960s. So I think that's why I'm not really feeling it right now, but I will get to it eventually. I've heard it's really, really good, and I think I'm next on the Libby waitlist, so I think if I have it on my Kindle too, as well as a physical book, I might enjoy it a little bit more as far as the reading experience goes, because this book, the pages are thick and I don't like that. I just want them to be like thin pages, but they're very thick and I don't know, I don't like it. So we're in the home stretch right now, and these are some comics that I got in Toronto. I always try to go to the comic store at least once a month, but I haven't lately, so I kind of went a little bit nuts. I went a little nuts, to say the least. I got the Invincible Iron Man, and I got this because I saw clips on Instagram with Emma Frost and Tony. They got married in the comics. I'm like, what the fuck? What is happening? So I saw this cover and I was like, oh, I definitely have to get it, and I'll probably read the rest on Marvel Unlimited or something. I also got the Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 26. I'm not caught up on any of these, just so you guys know, but if I am confused, I will just go back and read it on Marvel Unlimited. The Amazing Spider-Man, What Happened to Mary Jane, issue 25. Of course we want to know what happened to Mary Jane. We have The Wasp, issue number 1, so that'll be easy for me to know what's going on because it's the first issue. My thing is that most of these, if I'm picking it up and they're not the first issue, I will just read it anyways, and if I'm confused, then I'll go back on Marvel Unlimited, or I'll try to find the issues beforehand if I really enjoy that comic run. I mean, I've been reading comics for a while now, so I kind of have a general gist of what's happening. So just to like pick up on a series, I think it's like not that big of a deal for me, at least, especially since I do have Marvel Unlimited. So if I'm confused at any point, I'll just go back and read the other issues. So that's why I buy issues out of order, especially like with the Amazing Spider-Man run. Like I have a couple of the other issues. Even I don't think I have like the ones right before this, but I do have the other issues, so like I can kind of make an educated guess on what's going on. It is what it is. I also have the Fantastic Four, which I don't remember if I've read this run, so that's why I got it. But if it is the run that I read, I might cry because I didn't like the last run of Fantastic Four, but we'll see. I love Fantastic Four. They're like one of my favorite character groups of all time in Marvel. So I also got Secret Wars, and I also got Secret Invasions because I need to refresh myself on these, and I don't know. The thing with these issue runs is that they're not all in the same series, if that makes sense. Like sometimes they'll pick and choose different comics from different runs and they'll put it together to compile into what these books are so that it makes sense with the timeline of whatever they're trying to show. So like Secret Invasions, these comics are all related to Secret Invasions, even if they're like not within the same comic run. And then same with Secret Wars, like they'll be in a bunch of different comic runs and they'll usually list it out in the front. Some of them are from Battle World, and then some of them are from War Zones, and there's like stuff from Civil War, and it kind of shows you like the main event is this book. So it's like saying like what the recommended reading guide would be so that these make sense. It makes it so much easier because then I don't have to do the manual labor of like reading through all of it or like doing my own side research to see what would compile into what essentially would be these books anyways. So I like getting these. I think it's nice, especially when you just want to read like a current campaign or a campaign that they had going on, like Secret Wars and Secret Invasions. Yeah, that's all of it. Let me count it actually. I only have 59 books on my TBR actually, which is kind of nuts. Yeah, I have 59 books, which is not a lot compared to other people, but it's a lot for me. So we'll see how that goes. This is going to be the starting point of the series. We're going to start off with 59. I'll update you guys if I add any more to my TBR, but I'm going to start making videos based on completing this TBR because we need to read these TBRs. It's an issue. So yeah, I guess if you guys want to follow me along on this journey to read all of my physical TBRs, feel free to subscribe and like this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!